The sound of jackhammers at 5:47 a.m. should have been my first warning, but you know how it is. You hear construction and you think maybe someone's just fixing a pothole. I'm standing in my garage with my first cup of coffee, badge from my overnight Pentagon shift still clipped to my belt, when Margaret Sterling, HOA president, queen of cream-colored blazers, and, I swear, powered by pure spite, marches up my driveway leading a small army of construction workers. They're carrying enough equipment to pave a runway, and behind her, I spot bags of green paint, floodlights, and what are obviously tennis net posts. I knew right then Tuesday was about to become the longest week of my life. Margaret doesn't bother with small talk. She never does. Her hair sprayed so tight you could bounce a quarter off it. Her perfume hits like a luxury nerve gas, and her voice slices through the morning chill. Mr. Hayes, as of now, we control this street. Your private road is being converted into the new Sterling Community Tennis Courts. Construction starts immediately. Before I can even blink, some guy is dumping green paint across my 3-week-old $45,000 driveway. Another is rolling out a giant stencil, and a third's drilling holes for net posts. I try to stay calm, but my heart's pounding. This is my property, my grandfather's legacy, and these people are marking it up like it's a high school gym. I take a deep breath, tell her this is trespassing, but she just steps closer, all cold gray eyes and fake sympathy. You weren't at the emergency meeting last night, Mr. Hayes. Too busy at your little government job? Well, the HOA now owns all private roads for community enhancement. Section 31A, passed at 11:47 p.m. She picked that time on purpose. I was deep inside a classified comms vault, couldn't leave if the house was on fire. And she knew it. I threatened to call the police, but Margaret just laughs, the sound sharp as broken glass. Call whoever you want. My brother-in-law, Judge Sterling, signed the permits at 5 a.m. And maybe I'll call your boss at the Pentagon, mention your anger management problem. Maybe tell the medical board about your wife, Dr. Hayes, and the stress you bring home. She's got her claws in everything. Now, imagine someone started tearing up your driveway at dawn for a community project you never agreed to. Lawyer or Pentagon. What would you do? Drop your answer below, because what Margaret didn't know about this patch of asphalt and my connections was about to cost her everything. By now, the crew's drilled, painted, fenced off a chunk of my driveway, and neighbors are out in bathrobes, watching with a kind of terrified curiosity. I try logic, remind her that this is a legal seizure of private property. She waves a hand and points out a bylaw. Any underutilized private road can be repurposed if it serves the greater good. She's already pre-sold 300 club memberships at $500 a pop, $150,000 a month, just from stealing driveways. And if I need to use my own driveway, day passes for non-members are $50, she says, teeth glowing, eyes icy. Or you could join the club yourself. Maybe I'll waive the initiation fee if you're cooperative. I nearly choke. Her workers are setting up a Sterling Tennis Club members-only sign, installing chain link, and cementing net posts. My phone buzzes, a text from Rebecca, my wife, coming off a night shift at the hospital. Honey, why all the noise? Before I can answer, Margaret snatches the phone, types out some message about community spirit, then threatens to start rumors about domestic issues. I grit my teeth. Revenge, I remind myself, is a dish best served with evidence. I head inside, grab my deed, and notice something Margaret missed, a bronze DOD marker from 1987, designating the property as an emergency defense corridor. Suddenly, this isn't just an HOA mess, it's a federal problem. I call my former CO at the Pentagon, General Blackstone. Ma'am, someone started construction on the Alpha 9 corridor. There's a long, dangerous silence. You know what's under there? She finally asks. No, ma'am. She fills me in. $73 million worth of fiber optic cables, carrying 60% of our missile defense comms. If Margaret's crew hits those, it's a national security crisis. Document everything, Hayes. I'll send a team in 48 hours. Stall them. And for the love of God, don't let them dig any deeper. Rebecca gets home, takes one look at the tennis court, and her surgeon calm gives way to lawyer fury. She did 3 years as a Navy JAG before med school. She threatened my license? She asks, already filming the whole disaster. Margaret Sterling just threatened a former military attorney married to a Pentagon analyst on federal property. She has no idea what she started. Midday, Margaret shows up with her founding members, all in matching tennis whites. There's a photo op on my stolen driveway. I stay inside, documenting. That's when Samuel Morrison, our 17-year-old neighbor and computer genius, knocks on the door. "Mr. Hayes, I've been tracking the HOA for a school project," he says, showing us spreadsheets. Margaret's been running this racket for years. Emergency meetings, surprise bylaws, converting people's property to courts and clubhouses, raking in tens of thousands monthly. The construction company? Owned by her husband. The permits? Signed by her brother-in-law. The money? Offshore, laundered, and dirty as they come. "Sam, would you give this to federal investigators?" He hesitates. His family's probably next. I explain, this isn't just an HOA issue anymore. Federal crimes, national security, racketeering. He agrees. That night, I can't sleep. Floodlights blaze through our windows. At 3 a.m., Margaret and her crew are outside, setting up concert-grade speakers for ESPN's grand opening. One of the workers drops a speaker onto Rebecca's roses. No apology, just a snide comment about landscaping rules. I call General Blackstone again, update her. "They're digging deep, ma'am. Anchor bolts going 4 feet. She curses, cables are at 5. Activating Emergency Protocol 7. Full military response. Be ready at 0930 tomorrow." Morning hits and Margaret's Sterling Tennis Club elite bus arrives. Kids in tennis uniforms, food trucks, ESPN crew, merchandise tents. She's running this like Wimbledon, not a hijacked driveway. But then, right in the middle of her big speech, the ground shakes. 3 Black Hawk helicopters swoop in, scattering umbrellas, sending tennis balls flying. Colonel Stone's voice booms over the speaker. "This is the United States Army Infrastructure Protection Division. You are occupying restricted federal property. Evacuate immediately." Margaret's face goes from confident to ghostly pale as strikers and tactical trucks roll up, combat engineers pile out, and the military sets up around my house. She tries to argue, but Colonel Stone isn't impressed. He lists the federal statutes she's broken. Then Richard Sterling shows up, tries to throw his weight around, gets immediately shut down. Meanwhile, Sam's live-streaming everything, and the viewer counts climbing into the hundreds of thousands. The military scans the court, confirms the cables are damaged, and the colonel reads Margaret her rights. She's facing hundreds of years for damaging defense infrastructure and racketeering. The FBI rolls up, puts the entire Sterling family in cuffs, and it's all caught on live TV. The crowd that paid $25 a ticket to watch tennis is now watching an HOA president's empire implode. The restoration is military-grade. My driveway is rebuilt better than ever, the roses replaced, and security ballads installed. I'm compensated for damages and offered a job. Turns out the Pentagon wants me to head up a new division to keep HOAs from ever messing with federal infrastructure again. The Sterling family's arrested, convicted, assets seized, HOA dissolved, and the whole story goes viral. Operation Sterling Takedown. 3 weeks later, General Blackstone calls with a promotion. 6 months after that, Margaret gets 18 years, Richard 12, Harrison 8. Samuel's a minor celebrity, neighbors are united, and no one's afraid of Margaret anymore. The new HOA is volunteer-run, led by Sam's mom, with 3 new rules. No late-night meetings, no stealing property, and no one named Sterling in office. A year passes. The roses grow back fuller, the new driveway shines, and even the Pentagon installs a plaque. This property protected by the United States Department of Defense. One evening, little Emma Morrison gives me a crayon drawing of helicopters over a tennis court and calls me her hero for saving their home. My $45,000 driveway, almost lost to greed, earned me $170,000 in restitution, a promotion, and a legacy as the guy who summoned the army to defeat an HOA tyrant. Margaret lost her empire, her freedom, and any hope of ever controlling anything but a prison cell. So, tell me, what would you have done if you woke up to find your home being turned into a tennis court by a power-hungry HOA president? Would you have played it quiet or gone to war? Drop your thoughts below, because in my neighborhood, justice arrived in a Black Hawk, and I'm living proof. No one is above the law, not even Margaret Sterling.